Okay, I'd like to present to you a mentalism card trick that I just recently invented. So this is totally an original effect. You might recognize some effects in this trick that I've incorporated to create this one, but generally it's totally original, and I'm sure you've never seen anything like this trick, so hope you enjoy it. Anyways, I'll present the effect to you, and then I'll leave a link to the tutorial at the end. Now what I have here is I have a die to represent the spectator's decision, because I obviously don't have a spectator with me, so I'll use this die as my spectator. And this pen and paper is for the revealing of the mentally selected card that I will write down later, just to prove that I was able to get the correct card beforehand, before we look at the card. So I'll tell you what I mean in a moment. So what I'll do now is what I would do is I would pass the pack to the spectator, and I'd get the spectator to, here, I'll just move this stuff aside here. I'd get the spectator to deal the cards into 4 piles, and they can deal the cards any way they wish. The key here is we want to mix the cards 1 card at a time, any way they like. So we're going to have a nice thoroughly mixed pack of cards, because I don't want them to feel that there's any kind of setup involved. So they mix them up any way they like. Then they choose any 2 piles they'd like to mix together. Now, since I don't have a spectator to choose what 2 piles they'd like to see rifled together, I'll have this die here to make the spectator's decision. So I'll roll the die, and if we get a 1, they'll have these 2 packs mixed together. If they get a 2, we'll mix these 2 packs together. If they get a 3, we'll mix these 2. A 4, we'll mix these 2 packs. A 5, we'll mix these 2, and a 6, we'll mix these 2. So let's roll the die and see what the spectator decides. Okay, we have a 6, so it's these 2 packs that we mix together. So let's rifle them. And then we rifle the remaining 2. And then lastly, we rifle the entire deck. So now we should have a well shuffled deck of cards. Now what I do is I deal the cards into 3 fairly even piles. So I'll start dealing right now. Okay, that should be good. Now I'll just quickly mix each pile a little bit here. I'll give it one more mix. I'll mix this pile. And this one. One more. Okay. Then I ask the spectator to pick up any one of these piles. So if we roll a 1 or a 2, they'll pick up this pile. A 3 or 4, they'll pick up this pile. A 5 or 6, they'll pick up that pile. So our spectator chooses the 5 or 6, so it would be this pile. So they pick up this pile. Now, without looking, what we're going to do is first we'll just rifle these 2 piles together, and we'll set that aside. Now, the spectator's chosen this pile. Now, before we look at the cards and get the spectator to mentally select a card, we're going to go through the process next here and show what the spectator's decisions are going to be to randomly select their mentally chosen card. So what I would do as the magician is I would ask them to choose a minority color or a majority color. And I say minority or majority because I don't want the spectator to give away what the minority or majority color is, the red or black. So, in other words, if it's the minority color, like let's say there's less red than black, then the minority color of course would be red. If there's more black than red, then the majority color would be black. So I'm getting the spectator to select a minority or majority color. So if it's a 1, 2, 3, they select the majority. If it's a 4, 5, 6, they select the minority. So we'll roll the die. Okay, it's a 1, 2, 3, so they select the majority. So then I'd ask the spectator to discard the majority cards and to focus their attention on the minority. Now, from the minority cards, whatever color that may be, I have no clue what the color would be. I ask them to look at the two suits in that color. So let's say the minority color is red, they would be looking at either the hearts or diamonds. Now I ask them to look at the minority suit in that group, since they've chosen them, to look at the majority suit since they have chosen the majority of the cards. So they look at the majority suit. So whatever the majority suit is, they discard that suit. So let's say there's more hearts and diamonds, they discard the hearts. Then, whatever it is that they have the majority, they discard. I want them to focus now on the minority suit. So whatever the minority suit or suits that are left, I want them to look at that. And then I just want them to choose any one of those suits that are left. And they mentally choose one, and whatever they have chosen, they burn that into their memory. And I get them to immediately take the cards and shuffle them into the pack so that there's no way of me telling or knowing what card they have mentally selected based on those random selections. So, based on this, they've come to a card, they've thought of a card. Now, let's say the last suits that they're looking at, we'll roll the die, and we'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 will mean, 1 will mean the first card to the left that is left in their hand, and 2 will be the second card to the left that is left, and then the 3 will be the third card to the left that is left in their hand. And so we'll just get them to select a card that way. So here we'll roll the die. Okay, the 6th card, which would probably be the extreme right card of whatever's left anyways. So we'll say that's their mentally chosen card before we reveal the cards. So I'm going to say what the mentally chosen card is even before I look at the cards, just for the demonstration. I don't do this normally in the trick. I don't write on a piece of paper. I would just say what the card is that they've mentally chose. But just for this demonstration, I'm going to put on a piece of paper and then reveal it after we look at the cards to prove that I had the correct choice and without looking at the cards. So I'll just write it down quickly without you seeing what it is yet. Let's see here. I gotta figure out now what could be the mentally selected card. Okay, I'll write it down quickly. Okay, now I'll just fold that up without... Alright, and I'll leave that piece of paper right there in full view. Okay, now let's look at the cards now. Now remember, they chose the majority of cards, so we discarded the majority of the color. So the majority color was, if we look here, it looks like black is the majority color. So let's discard the majority. Okay, and then we were left with these cards. Then I asked them to look at the majority of, or they chose the majority of the two suits, which the majority here is obviously the diamonds. So we take those away, discard those, and we're left with the minority, which is only one card, so we really have no choice in the matter. So rolling this die didn't really matter, getting a 6 or whatever. The only card they could choose is the 5 of hearts. So this would be their mentally chosen card in this case, based on the die rolls we've demonstrated here. So let's see if I made the right choice in figuring out what this card, the mentally selected card, is. So let's open up the piece of paper, and it's revealed to be the 5 of hearts, their mentally selected card. So if you want to know how that trick's done, if you haven't figured it out, there's a link to the tutorial here, and anyways, I hope you enjoyed this trick, and it's really easy to do, and I think this is quite a stunner. So anyways, see you at the tutorial.